But Hometown TCG, you guys don't do collectible videos. Buckle up, YouTube, because we do now. Let's go. Welcome back to Hometown TCG. You guys know me, my name is Josh, and I'm here with some big news. That's right, Hometown TCG gonna expand its horizons a little bit. We're gonna be talking not only about Flesh and Blood, but we're talking about Magic the Gathering. We got some MetaZoo. We might even sprinkle some Pokemon in here. We're talking TCGs today, and this kind of goes hand in hand with the fact that we're gonna expand content a little bit. And we're going to look at bringing you guys one Magic the Gathering Arena gameplay video per week. But before you go anywhere, before you smash the dislike button, Flesh and Blood is our Flesh and Blood. That's where we cut our teeth. That is our favorite game. We're going to continue bringing you 6 hours of live Flesh and Blood gameplay on our Twitch stream. We're going to continue uploading some of our favorite games to our YouTube channel. We're going to continue building decks for our patrons at patreon.com/HometownTCG. And we're going to continue with our FaB and Coffee streams, our community news, breaking down decks. Flesh and Blood is not going anywhere. We're only going to make more Flesh and Blood content. We just want to let you guys know you might see some more games popping up here and there. But Flesh and Blood, not going anywhere. It's our favorite game. That's where we cut our teeth. And that's where we're starting this discussion today. Flesh and Blood with the announcement of the Everfest Carnival. We did get an LSS post breaking down the Everfest Carnival. I believe it's a 198 card set. I think it's a 3 legendary set. They said it will have cold foils, and it was 45 Majestics. So it leaves 5 Majestics per hero class or something like that. So it's a very interesting set. But it was the May the Zoo Be With You podcast. Shout out Louie and shout out those guys over at that podcast that pointed me in the direction of the ICV2 article that mentioned something very unique, or maybe not so unique, about the Flesh and Blood Everfest Carnival booster pack. There was mention of what was called the Carnival slot. Now, those of us that have played TCGs and opened other TCGs, this might sound familiar. It's a specialized slot where you can get special Carnival treatments of all the cards. I believe it mentioned that all the cards will have a Carnival treatment, meaning, some alt art or some special art. And this means that Flesh and Blood and LSS is adding kind of additional chase cards or additional variants to the Everfest Carnival booster packs. I'm kind of hyped about this. It adds a new layer of excitement when opening these packs. It adds a new level of collectability to maybe some cards that people wouldn't be after before. Every common and every rare is kind of bulk eventually. Maybe this pulls some of those cards out of those bulk bins, gets its players trading, seeking things, get cards into, maybe collectible cards into more players' hands. I love the concept of this because it doesn't affect the player at all. The player still has access to all of the cards. That's access to the unspecialized treatment cards, access to all the mechanics they might want to play. I think this is a great way to go about it without going overboard. Now, we've seen companies like, Wizards of the Coast, Hasbro, Magic the Gathering, maybe gone overboard where a card has 14 different treatments and 3 different frames and 7 different variants. And it's hard for the secondary market to keep track of which one do I want, which one don't I want. I'm kind of a fan of this one or low-level variants on cards. Maybe there's one variant and it gets you an opportunity to carnival out your deck or something like that. I think that is super cool. With the mention that it's a 198 card set, God, I hope I'm getting that number right, or you guys are going to crucify me in the comments. That wouldn't be the first time. It's like a 198 card set, but this means that my tinfoil hat theory of no talent support in the Everfest Carnival lives on. That very well could be a thing. No talent support in the Everfest Carnival is my tinfoil hat theory. You heard it here first at Hometown TCG. I still think, in my heart of hearts, regardless of the lack of support I get from other people on this channel who will remain nameless, I think that's the way it's going to be. The last thing to mention about Flesh and Blood is kind of an important one, and it touches on a topic that we don't talk about a lot on this channel, and that's the collectability and investment side of Flesh and Blood, whether it's, cold foil singles, whether it's first edition stuff, whether it's sealed product, things of that nature. I think it's important that as many content creators that talk about this stuff spam this message that the days of free tendies, right, of buying a box and watching it 6x, 7x, 8x to the moon and then just selling it and making a bunch of free money, those days have been over. We mentioned this, I believe it was in our Monarch video, that we believe the days of free tendies are over. Flesh and Blood's player base is rapidly expanding. There's tons of new players. There's tons of new eyes on the game. And this means that people are going to require more product. So more product is going to be printed. And odds are more product will be printed than is needed at first. So some of it will sit on shelves. Now, that's not always the case. If we reel back print numbers, we could find a situation where there's a shortage and things rise in the short term. But odds are we're going to see this product sitting on shelves. And if this product is sitting on shelves, it's good. It means it's accessible to the players. It means the players can get the game pieces they want. Now, this is all good provided the community continues to expand. If the community retracts and shrinks, eventually there's just too much product for not enough players. But I don't believe that is happening. Look around, you guys. More and more people are picking up Flesh and Blood every day. We got events with tons of players. I think Flesh and Blood is here to stay, and I love it. John and I are just so hyped about the Everfest Carnival. We can't get enough. My tinfoil hat theory is going to stay on this channel in prominence until it's proven wrong. So I'm stoked about that, and we cannot wait for spoiler season for the Everfest Carnival. I'm beaming. Let's absolutely go. Transitioning from Flesh and Blood, though, let's talk a little bit about Magic the Gathering and kind of how it's imitating Flesh and Blood, who I guess imitated Magic the Gathering. So it's this weird like imitation life cycle. It just goes around. Magic the Gathering and Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro, whoever it is, they announced the introduction of serialized cards. This means that there's a serialized Magic card. What a serialized card is, it's number N out of X, right? So number 1 out of 100, number 2 out of 2,000, number 23 out of 15,000, whatever the numbers may be. But the fact is, it adds a layer of collectability that Flesh and Blood achieves through cold foiling, right? The whole concept of cold foiling in first editions will always get first edition print runs, which means your skull cap will always be one of 1,498 skull caps or whatever it is. Your cold foil shock charmers will always be one of 10,000 cold foil shock charmers or whatever. Those are made up numbers, but that concept is achieved in Flesh and Blood through cold foiling. Now, serialization and number 1 of 100, 2 of 100 does take it a step farther and adds variants and rarities within the numbered cards, but I think it's a step in the right direction for Magic the Gathering. As someone who opens Magic the Gathering product from time to time, someone who buys a booster box, I'll sit home with my wife and I'll open it to kind of see what they're doing and what the new set is looking like, and kind of, they're bringing back vampires, whatever it is. I haven't really been excited to open non-collector product in some time. So I know that this serialization has only been announced for secret layers. I know right now it's only a slide in a certain secret layer, but them opening that door makes them, I believe, says to the world, hey, we're noticing what LSS and what Flesh and Blood are doing, and we're noticing why it works. And we're noticing that their community is absolutely loving this. So we want to try to get a little of that excitement ourselves, and I think that's a very healthy thing. This competition is going to bring out the best in both card games and both companies. But what we have here is the opportunity for Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast to take this one step further and maybe add some of this collectability back to either the draft or set boxes for Magic the Gathering. These are their two base levels of sealed product. For those that don't know, one is meant to be draftable experience, the other one is meant to be open and kind of get some rares. So it's a really cool opportunity to see Magic transition this and bring some of that hype back into opening sealed product. And I can't wait. If they take that step, I will definitely be opening a booster box and, trying to chase these things and being excited about it. Other Magic the Gathering news, the Innistrad Crimson Vow release did not go that great. there was all of our local game stores, they had, okay pools, but they were used to much larger player base and much larger groupings. So I think the community stands with me on the fact that they're just not excited about Magic the Gathering standard product right now. They're not excited about Magic the Gathering standard sets being released. The players that want it can go out and pick up their cards for pretty cheap, which is nice, but they're just not excited about getting in there, jamming games with the set right away. And I think right now, the overtuned release schedule for Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast, having a new product release what feels like every 2 weeks or even every month, it just feels like too much. And I know the Flesh and Blood community is very much, oh, we don't have a release until February 4th of next year. What are we going to do? Or February 4th or 9th? 4th or 9th? You guys will let me know in the comments. February 4th or 9th or whatever it is next year. But this also gives time for the community to build hype and get this hype train rolling. So I think Wizards of the Coast is going to take another page out of Flesh and Blood's book. I think they're going to scale back the release schedule and kind of give people more time to really enjoy, consume the product, and get hyped about the next one. So Wizards of the Coast, Magic the Gathering, definitely seems to be mimicking some of the traits of LSS, in fairness, who mimicked the traits from early Wizards of the Coast. So the mimic cycle continues, but I think that bodes well for Flesh and Blood, and I think it bodes well if you're a Magic player, if you're in the Magic community, it bodes well the fact that the company running your game is willing to pivot and willing to see what things work in a community, what things don't, and move in that direction. I think that's super awesome of them, and I'm super excited about the future. And I tell you, if that change is made for serialized product in standard draft boxes or whatever, standard set boxes, I will be picking some up because I think it'll be just a blast to open. We are going to talk for the first time on this channel about MetaZoo. I know everybody has such a polarizing stance on this game. If you like this game, everyone who doesn't is just wrong, and there's no saving them. They're just wrong. And if you don't like this game, everyone who likes it is just wrong. And it seems like nobody can meet in the middle when it comes to people I talk to about MetaZoo. But I gotta tell you, I'm gonna try, because MetaZoo is hype. I know that the second product just came, or the second release from MetaZoo just came out. I think it's called Nightfall. Is it Nightfall? I have a couple, spoiler alert, I have a couple first edition boxes of Cryptid Nation and a couple first edition boxes of the second set, which is, I believe, called Nightfall. So I do have some skin in the game for MetaZoo, and that product just came out. I know there was concerns about the card quality and the card stock. For those that don't know, they ran out of printer allocation, so they got the printing done at a shop or a printer that's known to print cards a very specific way. They have a very specific feel to them. Some people think they feel cheap. Other places think they feel nice. To me, it feels like deck of cards stock. It was very interesting to feel. It was very cool. So how that will play in the long-term collectability of the set for singles as well as sealed product, I'm not sure. I know the community is afraid that it'll be easier to make fakes. So it'll be interesting to follow that along and see how the singles market handles that. But the sealed product and all the MetaZoo stuff, every time it comes out, guys, the community receives it well. It goes up in value. You have to respect that. And spoiler alert, the game, the mechanics, the themes, they're not, necessarily for me. But after talking to members of the MetaZoo community and after hearing a lot of stories of, this is how our family, this is how me and my kids, this is how my kids and their friends, this is how they play games. They get MetaZoo, they get together, they play a game of MetaZoo, they have a blast, they love it, they're constantly asking me to play it. That excites me, because what that means is that there's families out there, there's a younger generation out there, there's people that are sitting across their kitchen table no matter what age, and they're getting the same feeling that I got my whole life when I would play the Dragon Ball Z card games with John and all my buddies, and when I would play Magic the Gathering back at Heroes Inc. in Wisconsin. I got those feelings of just playing games with my friends. The critical thinking juices are flowing. It's just a blast. So I'm excited that a whole group of people are finding that feeling and finding that passion in this game. And for that reason, I think it's going to stick around for quite some time. And if you're one of those people that just say, it's stupid and I hate it. I don't think that's the route to take. I think you need to respect that it's around, that people like it. It's bringing people together, and I think there's a place for that in our community. They also did just ink a deal with Walmart. I know MetaZoon's very focused on not just the card game, but IP as well. Plushies, toys, the little bobblehead, the big head bobblehead toy things and stuff like that. I think that they're going to be around for a while, so look out for them to pop off at Walmart. Look out for them to start becoming part of the collectible world that you live in. I don't think they're going anywhere, but again, spoiler alert, not my cup of tea, but I respect it. Finally, do want to touch on Pokemon, and this has been at our LGSs the overwhelming favorite received in the last couple of weeks, with both Innistrad sets coming out. There's been a new Pokemon set. I think it's called Fusion Strike. I got some info from a really good buddy of mine, Bez, who works down at Nerd Rage Gaming. Shout out Nerd Rage. Shout out Bez for hooking me up with some Pokemon information. I was like, hey man, why is this thing flying off all these shelves? Like, what's the deal? What does everyone see? And they took it to a level of collectability that we hadn't seen before. I guess there's an alt art from an old set that was missing, got placed in this set to try to shake things up. There's a new gameplay mechanic, or they finalized a set of gameplay mechanics for the players to really give them some new tech to chew on, some new decks to build. It's really high collectability with the popular Pokemon. Apparently there's a Mew and like a Gengar, which are part of the original Pokemon people get super hyped about. So that's, big and collectible in this set. So Pokemon Fusion Strike has been kind of crushing it. We're constantly seeing people open them. I got a chance to open a booster pack for someone. It wasn't mine. I got the chance to open it, and I got to feel the texture of the cards, and they showed me the high-end like alt art and chase cards, and I was hyped. I almost bought a box off the shelf that day. I was that hyped. I was like, oh, this is really interesting. So I think being able to generate that feeling in your community and be able to get your community behind you and rally around the set is huge. Pokemon is doing really well. I'm really happy to see that. And that kind of brings us to this thought on, we talked about all these collectibles and they're all doing well. And can that be, right? Is there enough, I guess, financial support in the community? Is there enough people just involved in the community to keep all these TCGs afloat? And I think the answer to that is yes, but to an extent. If you want a game like Flesh and Blood to grow extremely rapidly, you're going to get a couple things. The volatility of that growth will be at an all-time high, meaning the community can grow and then can instantly shrink back down. Players can jump on board. You can get 100 players, but then you can lose 100 players because your players aren't super committed, right? As fast as they show up, they can leave just as fast. But if you get a slow, consistent growth over the course of a year, 2 years, 3 years, that's when you've got this sticky community that's going to stick together and they're going to love it. But all these other TCGs might be plucking a person here or there to, try them out. Hey, try this TCG, try Pokemon, try MetaZoo, try Flesh and Blood, try getting back into Magic. Whatever it might be, this is going to create kind of a slower burn in the collectible community. And in my opinion, what that's going to do is that's going to scare off a lot of the adopters that have come in to, try to buy some sealed product, get into this game, make a quick buck, and they're not used to kind of the volatility and the trend of TCGs. And what that means is make sure you don't over leverage yourself. We're about to see, I believe, a lot of fluctuation in player base, collectability, and financial value of all of these TCGs. And that means if you're in it, you need to know that everything doesn't always go up forever. That's not how that works. Things will go up over time. Things will experience large fluctuations at different inflection points, but it doesn't just go up forever. So make sure if you're into that, if you're into the financial exposure, if you're into the whole thought of TCGs and collectibles as an investment, you manage it appropriately. You don't overextend yourself. You are ready for what's going to come. You're ready for all the ups, the downs, the ins and the outs. And if you're there, I think you're in for a wild ride. I think you're really going to enjoy yourself. But if you're overextended, you're going to be real stressed. You're not going to like it. Make sure you get yourself into a comfortable position. So guys, that's kind of our perspective on all the TCGs going around. We are more than hyped for the Everfest Carnival. We cannot wait. Let us know what you think about us expanding our horizons, maybe talking about more TCGs, getting you the one arena gameplay video a week. Let us know what you think about that in the comments below. Remember, guys, this is all because of you, because of our awesome community, because you guys are clicking that sub button, because you guys are joining the Patreon, you're watching us on Twitch. Thank you so much. We couldn't have done this without you. We can't wait to build some new decks. Join us for our next stream. Join us for our next Fab and Coffee. I don't even know what it's going to be. Things are crazy around here, but we'll see you around.